Legacy of Destruction is releasing in less than a week, but how good is it? What's potion? You got Matt here, and welcome to another competitive Yu-Gi-Oh video. Legacy of Destruction is basically here, and we finally have the entire set list for the TCG. But what surprises me is that there are quite a bit of different cards in this set that are going to be low rarity but still very much anticipated. There's a great amount of individual one-off cards that are really highly expected to perform very well. And of course, because this is now the first weekend, the pre-release weekend for Legacy of Destruction, we're finally going to see how good this set actually is. So in this video, I'm going to go over Legacy of Destruction and let you know what my thoughts are on the set itself, how good the individual cards are and what you should be looking for, and if you should buy the product sealed. But first, if you're excited for the video, then make sure to smash the like button. If this video hits 250 likes, I'll bring you the ultimate guide on how to beat Tenpai Dragon. Also, if you like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, including deck profiles, guides on how to beat the best decks, meta discussions, and videos just like this one, you're gonna love this channel, so make sure to subscribe. But with that being said, it's time for us to find out just how good is Legacy of Destruction. Let's jump into it. So Legacy of Destruction has 101 cards in this set. There are 50 commons, 26 super rares, 14 ultra rares, 10 secret rares, and the 1/4 century new version of Magicians of Bonds and Unity. The set itself is expected to be a pretty good set overall, but not going to be as good as something like Age of Overlord, but I do think that its ability to perform well long-term is a bit higher than something like Phantom Nightmare. The set introduces some really cool new archetypes, but also has support for some fan favorite ones as well. And one of the most interesting things about this set is going to be the rarity distribution. You know, as players, we're always talking about how the rarities of certain cards don't make much sense, and that certain cards are so incredibly expensive because of their certain rarities. But in this case over here, a lot of the specific archetypes that are really good and really in high demand for this set are going to be pretty low rarity, and we'll talk about that now. But first, some of the main archetypes in this set are going to be Ashened, Yubel, Ragnaraika, Tenpai Dragon, Lightworn, Melodious, Shining Sarcophagus, Ancient Gear, and Diabellstar or Sinful Spoils. There are so many other archetypes that are receiving support in Legacy of Destruction, but these 9 are the main ones in my opinion. But the set also has a lot of really good generic cards that I'm also going to be covering today. But with that being said, let's explore a few of the different archetypes in Legacy of Destruction. Starting off with Ashened. The Ashened cards being released in Legacy of Destruction are Vados, the Dragon of Endless Darkness, Shaman of the Ashen City, Spearhead of the Ashen City, Embers of the Ashened, Extinguishing the Ashened, Ashen to Endlessness, and Rekindling the Ashened. Ashened is the newest TCG exclusive archetype, and when we saw the first wave of support, the general thought was, this isn't so bad. It could actually be pretty good with future support. But honestly, after seeing the new cards, I'm not as excited anymore. The new Vados fusion is difficult to access and is basically just Harpy's Feather Duster on summon and a pop for a card on the field. Shaman is recovery that gets Obsidian back to hand, and Spearhead is a worse version of Exiled Force. At least Rekindling the Ashened is kind of a monster negate, and Extinguishing the Ashened is the fusion spell, but it only uses hand or field as material, which is unfortunate. I had much higher expectations for this archetype, but who knows, with the third wave of support and potential OCG imports, it might be good. The Yubel archetype also received support, and it is really, really good. Gruesome Grave Squirmer and Nightmare Throne are both fantastic cards. Usually I would only cover an archetype that received a significant amount of support, and Yubel only gets 2 cards. But these 2 cards are both amazing for the strategy and are easily 2 or 3 ofs in any Yubel deck. We covered the other Yubel cards in our Phantom Nightmare review, but I'll be bringing you a complete guide to the Yubel archetype soon. Yubel won't be a top tier threat by any means, but it's going to be a solid anti-meta pick for many formats. The field spell Nightmare Throne on its own drastically improves the consistency and recovery the deck has. If you're looking to open up a box of Legacy of Destruction, I think Nightmare Throne is one of the ultra rares you're really hoping to see. Moving on to the new Ragnaraika archetype. The Ragnaraika cards include Ragnaraika the Evil Seed, Samurai Beetle, Armored Lizard, Skeletal Soldier, Mantis Monk, Chain Coils, Stag Sovereign, Bloom, and Hunting Dance. Ragnaraika is an incredibly powerful combo deck that uses the tri-types of insects, plants, and reptile monsters. It locks you into that tri-type, but honestly it doesn't really matter too much. A lot of players are excited about pairing Ragnaraika with the Traptrix archetype, and it's for good reason. Starting with Traptrix Mermelio and Traptrix Holutea, you can end on a massive endboard with like 5 or 6 different interruptions thanks to the Ragnaraika cards, with follow-up and multiple cards in your hand. The only unfortunate thing is that Reika looks to be a little bit expensive. You really want 3 copies of Bloom and 3 copies of Evil Seed because they're definitely the best cards of the archetype, and unfortunately, both are secret rares. At least if you're playing a Traptrix variant of Ragnaraika, you only need one of the other cards in the archetype. As for Tenpai Dragon, these are the cards being released in Legacy of Destruction. Tenpai Dragon Pedra, Tenpai Dragon Phaedra, Tenpai Dragon Chundra, Sangenpai Biden Dragion, Sangenpai Transcend Dragion, Sangen Summoning, and Sangen Kaiman. Tenpai is easily the archetype with the most hype behind it. It has the most meta potential, and considering the entire archetype looks to be commons and super rares, the deck will be pretty budget too. Well, assuming you already have a copy of Trident Dragion, but if you don't, just ask a friend. Tenpai is a powerful combo deck that is easily able to OTK their opponent and play through a lot. Because the engine is so compact and how easy it is to swarm with your main deck Tenpai Dragon monsters, you can easily quick synchro during the battle phase and combo off without worrying about Nibiru and other effects that are main phase only. Because Tenpai Dragon is so compact, I wouldn't be surprised to see players side in the entire Tenpai Dragon engine when going second to OTK. Yu-Gi-Oh players love dragon monsters, and Tenpai Dragon will bring the deck back to the top of the format. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel because next week is Tenpai Dragon Week. By the end of it, you'll have everything you need to beat or play Tenpai Dragon. As for Lightsworn, there are 4 new cards for the strategy. Lightsworn Dragonling, Weiss Lightsworn Archfiend, Minerva the Athenian Lightsworn, and Lightsworn Aegis. Lightsworn is a fan favorite archetype that just had its debut set announced for a reprint later this year, but honestly, all the cards in this set are solid to even really good. Even Lightsworn Aegis, the trap card which you would think isn't that good, is actually quite strong. When it's milled, you can set it directly to your side of the field, and now Lightsworn essentially has an Omni Negate for cards on the field. And with Baronne and Savage Dragon banned, any deck that has an Omni Negate should be pretty happy. It's also pretty low rarity, with Dragonling and Minerva being only ultra rares. The deck does have an issue dealing with Dimension Shifter, which will be a hurdle for it to see competitive play, but if you want to play a fun deck that can steal games while not being super linear, then this is the deck for you. Oh, and Lightsworn just so happens to be support for Tearlaments as well. The Melodious cards being released in Legacy of Destruction are Refrain the Melodious Songstress, Couplet the Melodious Songstress, Bacca the Melodious Maestra, Flowering Etoile the Melodious Magnificat, and Melodious Concerto. Melodious is one of the most slept on decks for the upcoming format. The deck is going to be pretty budget outside of exactly First Movement Solo, the emergency teleport for the deck. But the crazy thing is that the 3 best cards for Melodious in the set, Refrain, Couplet, and Concerto, are all commons. So far, the rarities for the archetypes we've covered is really good. There's a lot to look forward to when opening this set in the commons and super rare spots. Shining Sarcophagus is a brand new archetype being released in Legacy of Destruction. The cards included are obviously Shining Sarcophagus, Silent Magician 0, Silent Swordsman 0, Gandora G the Dragon of Destruction, Gadget Trio, More Marshmallow, Future Silence, Turn Silence, Ties That Bind, and Stronghold the Hidden Fortress. Remember when I said I was really happy with the rarity distribution? Yeah, that's not the case here. This entire archetype is extremely high rarity. The archetype has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 secret rares, and another 3 ultra rares. Look, at least they didn't take a deck that would be very strong and competitive and make it obscenely expensive because of rarities. But they did take a deck that has a special place in the hearts of anime fans and make it so expensive for no reason. Moving on to the Ancient Gear cards. Ancient Gear Dark Golem, Ancient Gear Tanker, Ancient Gear Commander, Ancient Gear Advance, and Ancient Gear Duel. It's Ancient Gear. It's not going to be amazing, but the cards make sense for the archetype. Ancient Gear monsters are inherently a little bit bricky and they have no real protection, but Ancient Gear Advance and Ancient Gear Duel help get them on the field and protect them from monster effects. I'm no expert when it comes to Ancient Gear, but I am confident that the deck will love to play these cards in the strategy. Lastly, we have the Diabellstar or Sinful Spoils cards. Starting off with Snake Eyes Diabellstar, Diabells the original Sin Keeper, Sinful Spoils Struggle, Sinful Spoils Subdual, and Sinful Spoils of Slumber, Morian. These cards won't drastically affect the meta with one small exception. Snake Eyes Diabellstar will be a one-of in any deck playing the Snake Eye cards. It won't drastically change how the deck plays, but it will give it one other level of interaction. Diabells is fine as a pseudo floodgate, forcing your opponent to set cards before activating them, but it really doesn't make much sense to play just yet. And the spell and trap cards here don't support the Snake Eye strategy the way that Wanted does. Honestly, it feels like these cards aren't going to do very much until we get more illusion monsters in the game. Legacy of Destruction has so many other really good individual cards, the first of which being Nightmare Apprentice. It's probably the chase secret rare of this set. It's a free special summon as a level 6, and because Beatrice is still legal, it's essentially a 2-card turn skip thanks to Ghost Meets Girl and Transaction Rollback. Varudras, the final bringer of the End Times, is a rank 10 monster with an Omni Negate. Not every deck can use it, but the ones that can will love it. And then the award for the most interesting card name in the entire set is Way Where There's a Will. It's a great generic field spell that helps you search and can act as removal. It's seeing Fringe play in the OCG right now, but any deck playing Terraforming now has a way to help them find an out to an opponent's board when going second. Blessing of the Voiceless Voice and Saphira, Divine Dragon of the Voiceless Voice is nice support for any Voiceless Voice deck. Blessing will see a lot of play, while Saphira will depend on the player. Gold Pride has 2 new cards in Gold Pride Eradicator and Gold Pride Eliminator. They're fine cards, but are Gold Pride specific. Centurion Gargoyle 2, Centurion Auxilla, and Wake Up Centurion are all helpful for Centurion and will see some play, but I expect the deck to have very limited success, but I wouldn't be surprised if it topped the regional. And Goblin Biker has 2 new pieces of support, but they aren't going to drastically change the way the deck works. So these are the best cards to look out for in my opinion, and I can't cover every single card in this video, so if you want my opinion on a different one, let me know down in the comments or by posting in the Discord server, link in the description. And there you have it, you now have everything you need to know about Legacy of Destruction. Now let me know down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on this set itself? Are you planning on buying it sealed? And are you planning on playing any of the decks inside this set? Personally, I am super excited for Tenpai Dragon, and because of that, starting next week on Tuesday will be the beginning of Tenpai Dragon Week. By the end of it, you'll be an expert on how to use and how to beat Tenpai Dragon. So if you're excited, make sure to subscribe. And if you made it this far in the video, you must have enjoyed it, so make sure to smash the like button and of course subscribe to the channel as well. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and join the Discord server, both of which are linked in the description. I also want to thank Imperium Duelist for sponsoring the channel. Use code OSHEA10, OSHEA10 for 10% off your next purchase with Imperium Duelist and to support the channel. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.